So, my dear students, now we will discuss the hemoglobin, which is very, very important. So, in the last class, we discussed the role of essential elements in the biological system. Now we will discuss the hemoglobin, which is one of the important for the oxygen transport in the biological system. So, generally, this hemoglobin, which is in the blood, which is very, very important pigment, which gives a red characteristics, red color of the blood. So you know that hemoglobin generally it is a protein. Actually, basically it is a protein, and because of this particular hemoglobin, generally the blood which is in red color. So most of the mammals, generally human beings, whatever may be animals, so generally the blood which is in red color because of the pigment, because of the protein which is hemoglobin. So there are also certain elements, certain insects, like certain, they are having the blue color blood because of the another pigment, that is a hemocyanin. We will discuss all those things later also, but here we have to see the hemoglobin. So that is very, very important here. So specifically here, hemoglobin, it indicates hemo and globin. So here hemo and globin. So globin is nothing but the part, the protein part of the protein. So globin is a part of the protein, and this hemo, this is nothing but the chemical group here. This is a certain chemical group here. Exactly, let us understand what is what is globin here. And this hemoglobin, generally, what is the purpose of this? So what is the structure of it? What is the function of it? We will discuss all these things in this. So generally, hemoglobin, it exists into two forms. That is, you know that one is deoxyhemoglobin, and the second one which is oxyhemoglobin. So you know that deoxyhemoglobin and the oxyhemoglobin. So generally, this hemoglobin will binds reversibly with the oxygen, and it also binds with the CO2 also. So that means here the oxygen is transported from lungs to tissue with the help of hemoglobin here. So generally, so here the liver, so from the lungs, we will generally in the breathing, while inhaling here the oxygen, that oxygen we are inhaling from the air here. So from the air, generally we will breathe the particular oxygen here. So with the lungs here, so from the lungs, oxygen is transported into the blood. So from the lungs, O2 is transported into the blood, and from the blood, the oxygen must transported to the tissues. So with the help of hemoglobin. So we have to discuss the hemoglobin, the important role which is for the oxygen transport and the CO2 transport in a particular biological system. So let us start with the hemoglobin. So first we will see the structure of it. Then we can easily understand all these things. So basically the structure and the function in this particular hemoglobin, we have to study all these things: structure, functions, cooperative effect, Bohr effect, Halden effect, and methemoglobin. So all these things are very, very important here. So first we will discuss the structure and then function, and we will discuss all these things, the diseases which comes with the hemoglobin part. So first we will discuss the structure. So what is the structure of hemoglobin? So basically it is a metalloporphyrin here. So metalloporphyrin here, it means what? So first, this is a porphin here. This is a macro heterocyclic ring which containing 4 pyrrole rings linked with the 4 methylene groups. So see here, this is a certain macro heterocyclic ring here. So heterocyclic, it means what? Heterocyclic means what? So you can take the benzene. So benzene is a homocyclic because all the 6 carbons are homo. That means same. This is carbon, 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 carbon. Everything is carbon only. So definitely everything is a carbon only. You know, this is carbon, 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 carbon. So all the atoms here. So whatever here the carbon atom, completely they are the carbon similar. So it is a homocyclic. It is a homocyclic. Heterocyclic means, so see here there is a nitrogen. Here this is carbon, 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 carbon. In between the carbon there is a nitrogen here. That is a heterocyclic ring. So the nitrogen, which is a heteroatom here. So here this particular heterocyclic ring, which is a macro heterocyclic ring, that is very, very big here because of the 4 pyrrole. This particular ring which is like this. So this is called pyrrole. So I can write this. So we can write this pyrrole like this, nitrogen, and see here we can write the pyrrole like this. So this is called the pyrrole, which is one of the heterocyclic compound. And this particular pyrrole here, there are 4 pyrrole rings are there. So you can see here 4 pyrrole rings are there. So porphin is a macrocyclic heterocyclic ring this is a macro heterocyclic ring, and it is simply a chemical structure. This is a chemical structure which is called porphyrin here. And this particular porphyrin is a central part here. See this. So this porphyrin, which is a macro heterocyclic ring containing 4 pyrrole rings. This is one pyrrole ring, second one, third one, and the fourth one, linked with the 4 methylene groups. So 4 methylene groups. See here, 4 carbons here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 carbons are there. 4 containing, it is linked with the 4 methylene bridges here. So this carbon is one bridge, here also, here also. 4 methylene bridges are there. And it is a conjugated system which consisting of 11 double bonds. See here, there are 11 double bonds. Alternatively, they are arranged here. So as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there are 11 alternatively arranged double bonds are there here. So the double bonds are alternatively arranged here. Hence it is called the conjugated system. And this particular porphyrin is having 4 nitrogens here. So you know that nitrogen can make 3 bonds here. See here, this nitrogen and this nitrogen. It is having the hydrogen here. So 2 hydrogens are there here. And here, but this particular nitrogen and this opposite nitrogen. So I'm indicating with red color. See here, this red color nitrogen and this red color nitrogen. So see the difference between these two here. There is no hydrogen here for these 2 nitrogens because already it is making 3 bonds here. But you can take what you can take this green color, this nitrogen here. See here, they are having 2 hydrogen here because they are making only 2 bonds with the carbons here. Generally, so it need one extra bond, that is a hydrogen here. So that means here 2 nitrogens. Here 2 nitrogens are with hydrogen and other 2 nitrogens are simply there with the carbons only. Now this particular system, the chemical structure is called porphyrin here. So generally this porphyrin ring is present in most of the protein parts like hemoglobin, myoglobin, chlorophyll, vitamins like cyanocobalamin, that is vitamin B12. So let us understand this particular porphyrin ring here. So this porphyrin ring is there, and the derivative of this particular porphyrin ring is called metalloporphyrin. Example, you can take the iron. So if we place this particular iron into this like this. So let us take the cavity of this particular pyrrole ring. So we place this particular iron and we keep that iron in the central part of the pyrrole ring. That is the cavity of the pyrrole ring. And see here, the structure you will get like this. So you will get the structure like this. So here iron. So here iron is there. That is iron, which is a central part of this particular porphyrin ring. And see here. So this particular iron is there in between the pyrrole ring here. So this particular system is called metalloporphyrin here. So this is called the metalloporphyrin. So the derivatives of porphyrin is called metalloporphyrin here. So the derivative of porphyrin here. So this is a porphyrin and the derivative of it. This is the derivative of this because it is having certain all these things, methyl, hemogroup, COOH, everything. So this particularly the system which is called metalloporphyrin here. So that simply you can take this is the porphyrin. If you place a metal in the central part of this, then it is called metalloporphyrin. And what is heme here? So heme is nothing but the whatever this particular system, whole system which is heme. So this is heme, the structure, the specific structure here. So the concerned structure here which is called heme. So heme is nothing but here heme is consisting of a metalloporphyrin and that is with iron, and it consisting of all this particular vinyl groups like this. So here also like this. So you can take other vinyl group here, methyl group, this methyl group, here also this group, everything which comes under the hemo part here. So basically this particular structure is a porphyrin ring. If you place a central atom that is like iron, magnesium, cobalt, whatever may be, if you place this particular metal into the central part of the porphyrin, then which is called the metalloporphyrin. And if this particular metalloporphyrin is having the certain groups like this, so these are the substituent groups in this particular metalloporphyrin ring. So this particular system which is called the heme. So this particular structure which is called heme. So hemoglobin, generally we have to discuss the hemoglobin. So hemoglobin. So here hemoglobin, that means it consisting of a hemo and there is a hemo and there is a globin part here. The globin part which is nothing but the protein part here. See the hemoglobin exact structure of this. The structure of hemoglobin is like this. So actually the hemoglobin is a tetramer. That means it consisting of 4 monomers. 4 monomers, or you can call it 4 subunits. So it is having 4 subunits are there. So each subunit is nothing but 4 heme groups are there. 4 heme groups are there. So exactly the hemoglobin structure will be like this. So this is one heme group, another group, another group, another group. There are 4 heme groups are there. 4 heme groups are there. Each heme group containing one iron atom as a central metal. And see, this is whole particularly one heme group. It consisting of a one iron atom here, which is in +2 oxidation state. It is present in +2 oxidation state. See here, you have to understood this thing here. So here this particularly it is a metal. It is a metal and it is making bond with this nitrogen here. So you can see here, if you place this particular iron like this, and it is making bond with this like this. So see here exact the structure of this particular nitrogen. So if I'm placing this iron, and I will remove this hydrogen and this hydrogen, and I will link with this particular nitrogen. So what happens here? It is already making 3 bonds here. So nitrogen, it is already making 3 bonds. But here this particular nitrogen, it is making 3 bonds with the iron atom here, because we are replacing the hydrogen with the iron atom. So iron is a metal. So it will have generally in metal, that means that it can easily lose their electron. So this particular iron, which is in +2 oxidation state, so that means it will give 1 electron to this nitrogen and it will give 1 electron to this nitrogen. So nitrogen is more electronegative comparing with the any metal. So metal is always less electronegative because of the electropositive character. So metal always tries to lose its electron, but here the nitrogen, which is more electronegative atom, which can gain the electrons here. So here you have to understood that the particularly the specific the hemoglobin, which is the tetramer, it is having 4 subunits. It is having 4 heme groups. So this is one heme group, second one, third one, and the fourth one. So here this particular iron is present in the central position here. So each iron, so this particularly hemoglobin is there. So heme group, here also heme group, heme group. So this particularly the structure, all the structure which is called the globin. Globin are nothing but the protein part here. So in this particular protein part, it is made up of generally protein is made up of, it is a polypeptide chain. It is made up of amino acids. So generally, so amino acids, so they will combine together to give a polypeptide chain, which is called the protein here. So this particular the globin part. So here whatever the here, see here. So this is completely the part of the globin here. It's part of the globin here, the protein part here. So it is made up of amino acids. So here there are two types of globin parts are there. One is alpha chain here also alpha chain, and this is a beta chain. This is also beta chain. This is alpha chain and this is alpha chain. Alpha chain is made up of 141 amino acids, and here beta chain is made up of 166 amino acids. 166 amino acids here. So 141 amino acids, and it is beta chain is made up of 146 amino acid. So it is exact structure of hemoglobin. So that means remember that hemoglobin, that means so 4 hemoglobin, it consisting of a 4 monomers like this. Fe iron like this. So whole the completely all the monomers. So iron 4 subunits will get the hemoglobin. So here you have to understood that there are 4 iron atoms are there, 4 heme groups are there. Here that means that each iron can bind with one oxygen molecule. That means one hemoglobin can bind with the 4 oxygen molecules. So one hemoglobin can bind with the 4 oxygen molecules. Remember this. That is very, very important. So hemoglobin can bind with the 4 oxygen molecule. So because of the 4 iron groups are there here, 4 heme groups are there, 4 subunits are there. That is a hemoglobin. So let us understand the complete picture of the hemoglobin. What is the function of it? This and this particular hemoglobin. So particularly this particular hemoglobin is generally it exists into 2 forms. One is deoxyhemoglobin. So one is deoxyhemoglobin, and the second one which is oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin and deoxyhemoglobin. So oxyhemoglobin and deoxyhemoglobin. What is the difference between those two? So whenever the oxygen binds with the hemoglobin, that is called the oxyhemoglobin. So if not, if the oxygen is dissociated from the oxyhemoglobin, then it is called deoxyhemoglobin. Without the oxygen, which is called deoxyhemoglobin. So if the oxygen is binding with the hemoglobin, then it is called oxyhemoglobin. So let us picturize all the deoxyhemoglobin and the oxyhemoglobin. So this is the structure of the hemoglobin. So remember that hemoglobin is a protein part, it actually consisting of a macrocyclic ring, that is a metalloporphyrin here. So in that particular metalloporphyrin ring, there is a central part. The cavity will occupied by the iron atom here, and the iron which is present in the +2 oxidation state. Iron which is present in the +2 oxidation state here, and all the porphyrin ring, the cavity present in the porphyrin ring here, it is occupied by the iron here. So the porphyrin ring is a macrocyclic heterocyclic ring, and that is it is a conjugated system with 11 double bonds here. So there are not only hemoglobin, there are many other metalloporphyrins. Like if you place the cobalt, in place of this, then you will get the vitamin called the B12, the vitamin which is called the cyanocobalamin. Cyanocobalamin, it is a vitamin name here. So cyanocobalamin, the vitamin which consisting of a cobalt as a central metal ion for the metalloporphyrin here. So this is particularly metalloporphyrin. If you place a cobalt here, that is a cobalt metalloporphyrin here. If you place iron, that is a iron metalloporphyrin. So this iron which is present in the hemoglobin, and the cobalt which is present in the cyanocobalamin. And you can take the magnesium. Even magnesium is there. If you place the particular magnesium in the cavity of that particular porphyrin, that is present in the chlorophyll. Here. That means hemoglobin consisting of iron, even myoglobin will consisting of iron, chlorophyll will consisting of a magnesium, and you can take B12, the vitamin will consisting of a CO here, that is a cobalt here. So this particular structure which is called the metalloporphyrin here, and this is the exact structure of hemoglobin, and this is one heme group is there. So let me detail you about the function of the hemoglobin. So because the function is very, very important here. So we will discuss the oxygenated, deoxyhemoglobin, oxygenated. What is the difference between oxy and deoxy? We will discuss all these things. So first we have to discuss the functions of the hemoglobin. See here, this is the structure first. So first we discuss the structure of the hemoglobin, and after the structure we need to discuss the functions and the cooperative effect, Bohr effect, Haldane effect, methemoglobin. Everything we will discuss in a continuation. So first we will discuss the function of the hemoglobin. So what is the function of the hemoglobin? So let us understand the function of the hemoglobin. So first, this particular hemoglobin, specifically it transports the oxygen. First, it transports the oxygen O2 and CO2. O2 and also CO2. Generally, it transports the oxygen and CO2. So I will tell you the CO2 exactly later. First, we will discuss the oxygen here. So from the lungs, generally we will inhale the oxygen from the air here. So by using the lungs, we can inhale the oxygen from the air. From the environment, the oxygen is inhaled by the lungs here. So when the oxygen is inhaled here, the oxygen will move onto the bloodstream here. So bloodstream here, that is the blood vessels here. So it will move into the blood vessels. And then this particular oxygen, it moves to the tissues. So what the tissues is, the tissues is nothing but whatever the organs here, the organ cells here, whatever the organs like kidney, iris, eye, skin, everything, the heart, kidney, everything. So every part of the human system, the digestive system. So every system for their metabolism, the oxygen is very, very important here. So the oxygen must be transported to all the tissues of the body here. So particularly we can inhale the oxygen from the environment. So concern the oxygen which is transported from the lungs, which is moved towards to bloodstream. And in the bloodstream, generally hemoglobin is present in the bloodstream here. So generally hemoglobin is present here. So this particular hemoglobin is present in the bloodstream, and with the help of this hemoglobin, the oxygen is transported from the lungs to tissues. The hemoglobin, the role here is to transport the oxygen from the lungs to tissues. So that is a very, very important thing here. So how this particularly hemoglobin is transporting the oxygen from lungs to tissues, how it is transporting here. So this particularly the function of this hemoglobin, this comes under the biological part actually, but you have to understand the mechanism of the transportation of hemoglobin, that transportation of oxygen, and even though the CO2 also. So let us start with the CO2 and oxygen, how it is transporting from the lungs to tissues. So first we will take the lungs here. So let us take the lungs here. So in the lungs, generally there will be alveoli sacs. The alveoli sacs are there. So there is don't worry about the part of the lung. Simply understand, you can understand from the lung. This is completely the part of the lungs here. And this is a blood stream here. This is the blood vessels or blood stream here. This is a blood stream here. That is a blood vessels here. And we can say different organs here. Let us take it is a tissue here. And this is a tissue here. The tissue is nothing but you can consider this is a heart, kidney, or eye, whatever may be, thighs, legs, hands, whatever may be. Here this is particularly, let us take it as an organ here. So here lungs must transport this oxygen. So this particularly lungs must transport the oxygen to these tissues. So these tissues will the function of the all the organs. So in our body for their metabolism they need oxygen here. The oxygen is transported from the lungs here with the help of the hemoglobin which is present in the blood here. So do you know that there is a red blood cells here? So there is a red blood cells are there. So red blood cells are there. So let us understand the red blood cells of the bloodstream. So let us understand the red blood cells. So this is a red blood cells which is present in the blood. This is a RBC here. This is a RBC here. So first oxygen is transported from the lungs here. So from the oxygen, the O2 is coming like this. And it will move into the RBC here. So and from the RBC with the help of hemoglobin which is present in the RBC లోపల మనకు hemoglobin ఉంటుంది అంతే కదా. So hemoglobin which is present in the RBC. Now we have to transport the oxygen from the RBC to tissues here. అంటే ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఆక్సిజన్ తీసుకుపోయి టిష్యూస్ కి ఇవ్వాలి నాన్న ఇక్కడ. సో ఆక్సిజన్ హిమోగ్లోబిన్ నుంచి టిష్యూస్ కి ఇవ్వాలి. సో విత్ ద హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ హిమోగ్లోబిన్. సో దిస్ ఆక్సిజన్ ఇస్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్టెడ్ ఫ్రమ్ ద లంగ్స్ టు టిష్యూస్ విత్ ద హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ hemoglobin. So let us understand how it is transporting the oxygen and how it is transporting even CO2 also. We will discuss these things here. So you know that the oxygen or CO2, the gases generally they will move with the process which is called the diffusion. What is diffusion here? Diffusion is nothing but the movement of gaseous molecules from high region to low region, from high region to low region. You know that you can take the water. So water molecule will move from high region to low region. So from the mountains the water can flow from mountains to small whatever the lakes or ponds. So because of the higher region of the water molecules. So from the higher region the water molecule will flow from the top of the mountain to whatever the lower region. So in that way, so everything you can take the gaseous molecule, you can take the gaseous molecule, it will move from high pressure region to low pressure region, high concentration to low concentration. So you know that if you open the gas cylinder, what happens? So in the gas cylinder there will be lot of there is a lot of internal pressure is there. So when you open the gas, so what happens? Suddenly the gas will be expanded. So the gas will be expanded because of the low pressure region of the gas here. So the gas which is kept under the cylinder which is with the high pressure, too much of the pressure which is kept in the cylinder, but at the outside of the cylinder which is very less in pressure. So the gaseous molecule they will expand here. So they will move, they flow, they can move from the high pressure region to low pressure region. So that is called the diffusion process. So from the high pressure region to low pressure region. So you can take the high concentration to low concentration. So here there is a O2 here, it must transport here. So from here there is a high concentration of lungs here. See, high concentration of O2 is there. O2 is very high concentrated here. There is no CO2 here. There is the concentration of CO2 is very less. Only O2 is there because of the breathing here, the respiration. By the breathing, so while we are breathing, the O2, we inhale the O2 from the environment. So here the concentration of O2 is very high. In the blood there is no oxygen here. So first this oxygen will transported from the lungs to bloodstream here. So from the oxygen here, let us take the oxygen molecule, and from the oxygen 97% of the 97% of the oxygen will move towards to RBC here. Generally this particular oxygen molecule 97% will move towards to RBC, and the 3% will move towards to the blood plasma here. So in this particular blood region, the blood stream, there will be RBC, and the remaining part of the RBC which is called the blood plasma here. So this is called the blood plasma here, blood plasma here, because of the it is the exterior part of the RBC here. So in the blood, so the blood vessels there will be a RBC. There are other cells like RBC, the erythrocytes, or you can take WBC, white blood cell lymphocytes, whatever may be, first let us take the RBC here. So RBC can accept the oxygen from the liver, that is 97%. So it can accept the oxygen which is 97%, it will accepted by the RBC, and the 3% will move towards to the plasma here. And from the 90%, so this 97% of the oxygen will bind with the hemoglobin. So I will write this as a HbO2, that is oxyhemoglobin, because of the binding of the oxygen with the hemoglobin. And after this, so this particular oxygen molecule can dissociated with this, and this particular oxygen molecule will move towards to the tissues. So the process which we call the oxygen transport here. So you have to understood that the oxygen molecule, first it is transported from the lungs. So 97% of the oxygen is transported into the RBC here. So 3% will be accepted by the blood plasma here. So this particular oxygen will binds with the RBC here. So sorry, the hemoglobin here. So from this oxyhemoglobin, so this oxygen can be dissociated into the, so oxygen can move towards to these tissues. So here this oxygen is binded with the hemoglobin. So this particular oxygen must break, the oxygen must be break down with the hemoglobin, and it must move towards to tissues. So there is a lot of process here, but you have to understand one thing, that the oxygen is coming from the lungs because of the high pressure region of the lungs here. So there will be a lot of pressure at the the oxygen here. But in case of the RBC, there is no oxygen, so oxygen will flow from the lungs to the bloodstream here. So 90% of the oxygen will accepted by the RBC here, 3% will move towards to blood plasma here. So this 3% can easily move into the tissues, but whatever the 97% of the oxygen, it is already bound with the hemoglobin here. So that means the oxygen molecule must break with the hemoglobin, then only it can go into the tissues here. So let us understand exact the way of transport of oxygen from the RBC to tissues here. So let me take the another diagram, small diagram. So this is a completely, this is the tissue, and see what happens. So see what happens here. So first the lungs, from the lungs oxygen is coming here, and RBC, it can accept the 97% of the oxygen and the 3% of the oxygen. So the 3% of the oxygen which is accepted by the blood plasma here. So this oxygen must transported into the tissues here. So how it can transported here. So first we have to discuss the tissue here. So in the tissue, generally there is a lot of CO2 here. There will be huge amount of CO2, and the oxygen concentration is very less here. So but here in the lungs, generally the oxygen is more here, O2 is more, and CO2 is very less, because we inhale. So while breathing, the oxygen, the amount of oxygen will increases. So generally the oxygen concentration is very high in the lungs, but the CO2 concentration is very less here. So but in the tissues, generally you can take the thigh, iris, eye, or you can take any part, liver, kidney, every part. Generally each tissue will have high amount of CO2 here. There is a huge amount of CO2 comparing with the oxygen. Why the CO2 is increased here? So why actually the CO2 is increased here? What is the reason for the increase of the CO2 here? So what is the reason for the increasing of CO2 here? So because there is a process which is called, you can take the example. So C6H12O6 can be break down into CO2 plus water and ATP also. So see here, the glucose generally the glucose will break down into CO2 and water with ATP molecules. So generally in the tissues, what happens? So generally we will eat, generally whatever the food we have taken, that is converted into glucose, and the glucose can be break down into CO2 molecules and the water molecule. Particularly this glucose is generally, it is made in our body, that is with the food here. Whatever the food we have taken, that must be converted into glucose, so that the energy we will get. How can we get the energy? By the breakdown of this glucose molecule. So this particularly glucose can be break down into carbon dioxide, water, and by releasing of energy, that is ATP here. So the released energy, the ATP, is the energy source for us. So ATP is the energy source for us. So with that ATP, whatever we'll do, the whatever the metabolic process, everything can be done with our ATP, the energy source here. But the glucose is very, very important. The glucose is nothing but whatever the food we have taken, that is break down into CO2 and H2O in the tissues. So what happens here? The CO2 concentration is increased here. So this CO2 concentration is increased here. O2 concentration is very low here. So, but here in this particular RBC, there is no CO2 here. There is no CO2 here. So that means what happens here? So in the lungs also, there is high amount of oxygen. There is less amount of CO2 here. So first the CO2 is transferred here. The CO2 will move towards to bloodstream here. And then the oxygen which is binded with the hemoglobin, it can move towards to these tissues here. That means here the oxygen must be transported from the lungs to tissues here. So oxygen must be transported from the lungs to tissues. So here O2 must be transported from the bloodstream to tissues with the help of CO2. First CO2 will bind with this HbO2. అంటే CO2 ఫస్ట్ టెస్టిస్ నుంచి ఇటు వస్తుంది అండ్ ఇక్కడ ఆక్సిజన్ ఏమో ఈ బ్లడ్ స్ట్రీమ్ నుంచి అటు వెళ్ళిపోతుంది నాకు. మరి ఇక్కడ CO2 అటు నుంచి ఇటు ఎందుకు వస్తుంది అంటే CO2 అక్కడ ఎక్కువ ఉంది, ఇక్కడ తక్కువ ఉంది. సో ఎక్కడ ఎక్కువ ఉంటే అక్కడ తక్కువ ఉన్న రీజన్కి వచ్చేస్తుంది. సో CO2 జనరల్లీ ఇట్ కమ్స్ ఫ్రమ్ హై రీజన్ టు లో రీజన్. సో ఇక్కడ ఎక్కువ ఉంది, ఇక్కడ తక్కువ ఉంది. అండ్ ఇక్కడ ఆక్సిజన్ వచ్చేసరికి ఇక్కడ ఎక్కువ ఉంది, అక్కడ తక్కువ ఉంది. సో ఆక్సిజన్ అనేది అటు వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. బట్ ఇక్కడ ఆక్సిజన్ అంత ఈజీగా వెళ్ళదు. ఈ CO2 ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఇటు రాకపోతే అంత ఈజీగా ఆక్సిజన్ అక్కడికి వెళ్ళదు అనమాట. ఎందుకు వెళ్ళదు అంటే ద అఫినిటీ ఆఫ్ ఆక్సిజన్ విత్ ద హిమోగ్లోబిన్ ఈస్ వెరీ హై హియర్ because it is a oxyhemoglobin. The affinity, the binding capacity of oxygen, the binding capacity of oxygen here, the binding capacity of oxygen is very high here. So generally I already told you that hemoglobin can bind with the 4 oxygen molecules because of the 4 heme groups are there, 4 iron molecules are there. Hence it can accept, it can make 4 it can bind with 4 oxygen molecule here. So one particular hemoglobin can bind with the 4 oxygen molecules here. So that means there is a strong affinity of oxygen with the hemoglobin. So what happens? The CO2 must be transported from RBC to tissues. So there is no easy way to transport the oxygen from the bloodstream to tissue. But whenever the CO2 comes from the tissues, so with the help of this CO2, this O2 can be dissociated from this HbO2 and it can transport it to the tissues. Let us understand the mechanism of this, how it is transporting. We'll see the even mechanism of this. So first what happens, see here. So hemoglobin. So hemoglobin generally it can bind with the 4 oxygen molecules. So see here. So that means each hemoglobin will have 4 actually iron atoms are there. So the binding capacity of oxygen. So the affinity of oxygen here. So the binding capacity of one oxygen. So the binding capacity of first oxygen, which is very low comparing with the very low than fourth oxygen. Let us understand this thing. So hemoglobin can bind with the first molecule. So let us take the Hb and I will react with O2 and you will get HbO2. And if you write Hb plus this is HbO2 now, it becomes HbO2 and I will react again with another O2 and you will get HbO2 taken twice. And if you if you react this HbO2 taken twice, if you react again with oxygen, you will get HbO2 thrice and again HbO2. If you take thrice, if you again react with this O2, you will get HbO2 4 times here. So if you take the rate of reaction of this 4th oxygen, which is actually 300 times faster than the first one, 300 times faster than the first one. So 4th oxygen will bind more easily comparing with the first one here. So 4th one will bind 300 times faster than the first one here. That means let us take this first oxygen. So first oxygen will bind with the hemoglobin. Let us take it happens in 1 hour. It happens in 1 hour. And the second oxygen will bind with, let us take it is 30 minutes. 30 minutes. It is happening in 30 minutes. And you can take the third oxygen. Let us take it is bind with the 20 minutes. It take 20 minutes. It is taking 30 minutes and it is 1 hour. And the fourth oxygen, let us take it is bind with 2 minutes. It can bind with the 2 minutes. See here, the fourth oxygen will bind more easily comparing with the first one. So this is called the cooperative effect. Cooperative effect. Cooperative effect. So here I want to tell you one thing, that the oxygen can bind with the hemoglobin as cooperatively. So that means one oxygen, the bounded oxygen will helps to the second oxygen binding. That means whatever the bounded oxygen will encourages the second one to bond to the hemoglobin. అంటే ఏదైతే ఫస్ట్ ఆక్సిజన్ బైండ్ అవుతుందో అప్పుడు సెకండ్ దానికి ఇంకా హెల్ప్ చేస్తుంది అనమాట, ఇంకా ఈజీగా బైండ్ చేయడానికి. థర్డ్ ఆక్సిజన్ ఇంకా హెల్ప్ చేస్తుంది, ఫోర్త్ ఆక్సిజన్ ఇంకా హెల్ప్ చేస్తుంది. So that means each oxygen molecule can bind with the hemoglobin very easily. The fourth oxygen can bind very easily, very easily comparing with the first one. The affinity of fourth oxygen is very high comparing the first one. I will say exactly the reason for this. So why the fourth oxygen is getting attached very easily comparing with the first one. But the rate of the reaction, which is 3 times faster than the first one here, that is the hemoglobin part here. So hemoglobin can bind with the oxygen and it forms HbO2. So it can bind with the 4 oxygen molecule, and the fourth oxygen will bind very easily comparing with the first one. So let us see again the tissues and the lungs. So this is the lungs, and this is the bloodstream, and this is the tissues here. This is the tissues part, and this is the lungs, and this is the bloodstream here. And the oxygen must be transported from the lungs to bloods and the tissues. Now see what happens here. And this is the red color blood, which is RBC here. This is the RBC here. Particularly this is RBC. So see what happens here. So first from the lungs here. So from the lungs, O2 is coming from the environment. By the environment, we will inhale the oxygen here. So this oxygen will generally it move towards to this RBC. And in this 97% will move towards to RBC, and 3% will move towards to the blood plasma here. So from the 97% as oxygen, generally it forms as a HbO2. So that means the hemoglobin, the oxygen can easily bind with the hemoglobin. It forms as a oxyhemoglobin. So what happens here? So first, this particular tissues, in this tissues, there is a high amount of CO2 here. There is a high amount of CO2 and there is a low amount of oxygen here because of the glycolysis. That is, glucose can be break down into C6H12O6 can be break down into CO2 plus water here. So here this glucose can be easily glycolized. By the breakdown of the glucose, we will get the CO2 here. So first it will transport the CO2. It will transport the CO2 to this blood, and here from this the oxygen will be transported to the tissues here. So oxygen will be transported here, and the CO2 will be transported from the tissues to lungs here. So one thing you have to understood that, so you can take the lungs here. So this is the lungs and the blood, and I'm writing tissues. And here the oxygen is transported from the lungs to tissues with the help of hemoglobin that is present in the blood. And here from the tissues, remember that the CO2 will transfer. The CO2 will transported from the CO2 will transported from the tissues. And you know that while in case of the breathing, we'll inhale the oxygen and CO2 will be exhaled out. So the CO2 comes from the out and బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోవాలన్నమాట. ఇది మనం exhale చేయాలి. So CO2 ఎట్లా బయటికి వెళ్తుంది అంటే with the help of hemoglobin, this CO2 will goes out here. So here in the lungs, generally the O2 concentration is very high. Particularly O2 concentration is very high in the lungs, and the CO2 which is very less here. And here in the tissues, CO2 is very high and the O2 is very less here. So here the oxygen is transported to the tissues, and from the tissues the CO2 will transported to the lungs, and from the lungs the CO2 can be eliminated out here with the help of hemoglobin. The process here which is hemoglobin. The hemoglobin will helps for the transport of oxygen from the lungs to tissues, and carbon dioxide that is from the tissues to lungs here. So that is the importance of the hemoglobin here. So see here what happens with the hemoglobin here. So once again I will write all these things. So the lungs here, this is the lungs, and this is the bloodstream here, and this is the tissues here, and this is the lungs, and this is the blood, and this is tissues here. And the oxygen here is transported. O2 will come from like this. So O2 will come from like this, and in the RBC, the red color RBC here, our RBC will take the oxygen and see what happens here. So oxygen will come from like this, and 3% will goes into the blood plasma, and 97% will go to the hemoglobin RBC. That is, you will get the oxyhemoglobin, that is HbO2. So first the CO2 will come, CO2 it will move towards to this blood, and again the O2 will move towards to this. So why? What is the reason? So the CO2 concentration which is very high in the tissues. So just now only I told you CO2 concentration is very high, O2 concentration is very less in tissues. And in the lungs, the O2 concentration is very high and the CO2 which is very less here. So what happens here? So was the CO2 ఇక్కడ ఎందుకు ఎక్కువ ఉంది? ఫస్ట్ ఎందుకు ఎక్కువ ఉంది అంటే గ్లూకోజ్ తినడం వల్ల ఎక్కువ ఉంది. గ్లూకోజ్ బ్రేక్ అయితే మనకు కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్ వస్తుంది. సో ఈ ఫస్ట్ కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్ వస్తుంది. సో కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్ ఇక్కడికి వస్తుంది ఎందుకంటే ఇక్కడ తక్కువ ఉంది కాబట్టి. ద కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్ ద కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్ ఇస్ వెరీ లెస్ హియర్. సో వచ్చినప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుందో చూడండి. సో ఇక్కడ ఫస్ట్ హిమోగ్లోబిన్ ఉంది, అండ్ ఇందులో నుంచి 7% ఆఫ్ CO2 విల్ మూవ్ టువర్డ్స్ టు ద బ్లడ్ హియర్. సో CO2 ఇక్కడ నుంచి వస్తుంది కదా, ఇందులో 7% బ్లడ్ ప్లాస్మాకి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది, అండ్ 20% విల్ బైండ్ విత్ ద HB, హిమోగ్లోబిన్ తో కూడా బైండ్ అవుతుంది, అండ్ ద రిమైనింగ్ 20 + 7 27. సో దట్ మీన్స్ రిమైనింగ్ 63%. Okay, 63%. So 63% will move towards to this hemoglobin, oxyhemoglobin. So you have to understand one thing here. So CO2 is coming from the tissues. So in the tissues, so I will remove all these things. Okay, see here. So CO2 will comes here. So 7% of the CO2, 20% of the CO2, and the remaining 63% of CO2. So 7% will go into the blood plasma here, and 20% will bind with the hemoglobin. Free hemoglobin toni bind avutadu. Ikkada mottham hemoglobin lu untayi and already bind aina oxyhemoglobin lu unnai. So hemoglobin toni bind aithe, so danni HbCO2 antam. So 20% of CO2 will bind with the hemoglobin. It forms as a HbCO2, carbamino hemoglobin antaradi, carbamino hemoglobin. And 63% of the CO2 will goes into the oxyhemoglobin. 63% will go into the oxygenated hemoglobin, oxyhemoglobin. సో ఏమవుతుంది మరి అక్కడికి వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత ఏమవుతుంది అంటే ఆక్సిజనేటెడ్ హిమోగ్లోబిన్ లో ఇక్కడ మొత్తం మనకు వాటర్ ఉంటుంది. సో CO2 when binds with the water molecule, what happens? So it will produce H2CO3. So H2CO3. So CO2 when bind with the water molecule, it releases H2CO3, and H2CO3 can be break down into H plus and HCO3 minus. So that is a bicarbonate ions and the protons here. So here the protons are there. So protons are nothing but the acids here. So proton molecules by releasing of proton is nothing but the acid here. So the acid is nothing but less pH value here. The pH value must be less here. So at this particular low pH condition, the acidic condition, what happens? So these protons are also combine with this HbO2 will combine with this proton, and it will release this particular Hb, free Hb and the oxygen. So whenever these protons are reacting with this oxyhemoglobin, so it will release again free hemoglobin, free oxygen, and this oxygen can be transported into the tissues here. So that is a role of proteins, that is a role of protons here. So once again I will tell you exactly here. So first the CO2 which is binding with the water molecule in the tissues. So sorry, this happens in this particular RBC here. So in the RBC generally this CO2, so this CO2 particularly it goes into the RBC, and in that RBC, so it reacts with the water molecule to form as a H2CO3. So this H2CO3 is nothing but the protons here. So whenever these protons are there, so these protons will disturb the HbO2. So HbO2 ni baga disturb chestenu. ఎందుకు అంటే HbO2 ని ఎందుకు డిస్టర్బ్ చేయాలంటే ఇందులోకి వెళ్ళి ఆక్సిజన్ తీసేసి అటు పక్క ఇచ్చేసేయాలి. సో ఫస్ట్ మన మెయిన్ అవసరమైంది, మనకు కావాల్సింది ఏంటి అంటే ఆక్సిజన్ అనేది లంగ్స్ నుంచి టిష్యూస్ కి ఇవ్వాలి. అలా ఇవ్వాలంటే ఇక్కడ 97% ఆఫ్ ఆక్సిజన్ మొత్తం హిమోగ్లోబినే తీసుకుంది. సో హిమోగ్లోబిన్ నుంచి ఆక్సిజన్ విడగొట్టి డిసోసియేట్ అయిపోయి అటు పోవాలి. సో ఎప్పుడు డిసోసియేట్ అవుతుంది అంటే దేర్ ఇస్ డిఫరెంట్ వేస్ హియర్. సో ఆ ఫస్ట్ వే ఏంటో చూడండి. సో దిస్ CO2 ఎప్పుడైతే ఉంటుందో ఇక్కడ CO2 ఆ టిష్యూస్ నుంచి ఇక్కడికి వచ్చిన వాళ్ళే దిస్ CO2 will comes and it will react with the water molecule. So 1 minute. So okay, see here. So first CO2, this CO2 will react with the water molecule and it forms as a H plus. So these protons will completely disturb this HbO2. HbO2 ని మొత్తం డిస్టర్బ్ చేసేయాలి. సో HbO2 ని వాట్ ఎవర్ ద ప్రోటాన్ ఇక్కడ మొత్తం మనకు ప్రోటాన్స్ వస్తున్నాయి. సో కంప్లీట్ గా మనకి ఇక్కడ ప్రోటాన్స్ వస్తున్నాయి. ఈచ్ ప్రోటాన్స్ ఎక్కడి నుంచి వస్తున్నాయి? వెన్ ఎవర్ ద CO2 which is coming from the tissues and it reacts with the water molecules to form as a proton. సో ఈ ప్రోటాన్స్ మొత్తం ఈ HbO2 ని డిస్టర్బ్ చేసి ఈ HbO2 తోని ప్రోటాన్స్ రియాక్ట్ అయిపోయి ఇట్ విల్ రిలీజ్ దిస్ ఆక్సిజన్. సో దిస్ ప్రోటాన్స్ విల్ ఫేవర్స్ ద డిసోసియేషన్ ఆఫ్ ఆక్సిహిమోగ్లోబిన్. ప్రోటాన్స్ రిలీజ్ అయితే ఆక్సిహిమోగ్లోబిన్ కెన్ బి డిసోసియేటెడ్ ఇంటూ ఫ్రీ ఆక్సిజన్ అండ్ ఫ్రీ హిమోగ్లోబిన్ వస్తుంది, ఆక్సిజన్ కూడా ఫ్రీ వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. ఆ తర్వాత ఆక్సిజన్ మొత్తం అటు వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. సో దీన్ని ఏమంటాము అంటే బోర్ ఎఫెక్ట్ అంటాం. ద ప్రాసెస్ విచ్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ద బోర్ ఎఫెక్ట్. So the process which is completely called the Bohr effect. So let us understand once again all these things. So inkokasari clear ga chudandi. So once again I will tell you, this is the lungs part. This is the lungs here, and I will draw the bigger comparing with the last part. This is the blood. So this is the tissues here. This is tissues and this is the blood and this is the RBC here, and in that RBC we are having free hemoglobin Hb and there is also HbO2 because of the oxyhemoglobin. So whenever the oxygen will comes from the lungs, it reacts with the RBC. 97% will move into the RBC. 97% completely will move towards to RBC and 3% will move towards to blood plasma here. And here from this particular RBC, see what happens. So whenever this CO2 which from the tissues here, glucose is developed here. So the glucose, the CO2 which comes from the tissues and it will react with this HbO2. So from this here, so 7% will go into the blood plasma here. The CO2 will go 7% into the blood plasma and the 20% will go into the free hemoglobin and 63% will bind with this HbO2. The 63% will go into the HbO2 to disturb the oxyhemoglobin or to dissociate the oxygen molecule, and 20% will simply react with the free hemoglobin. This is the 20% will react with free hemoglobin. So whenever this Hb react free hemoglobin react with the CO2, that is called the methemoglobin. Sorry, carbaminohemoglobin. That is also called carbaminohemoglobin. Remember this word, carbaminohemoglobin. So here it forms carbamino. 20% it forms as a HbO2. So it forms as a HbCO2, and the 63% will disturb. It will helps to dissociate the oxygen molecule. అంటే ఇక్కడ నుంచి 63% HbO2 ని పోయి డిస్టర్బ్ చేసేది నన్ను. సో ఈ CO2 ఫస్ట్ అక్కడికి వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత మొత్తం అక్కడ ప్రోటాన్స్ రిలీజ్ చేస్తుంది. సో హియర్ ఇట్ రిలీజెస్ నంబర్ ఆఫ్ ప్రోటాన్స్ హియర్. సో ప్రోటాన్స్ అన్ని ఎంత ఎక్కువగా రిలీజ్ అయితే, సో దట్ ఈస్ దిస్ ప్రోటాన్ కెన్ రియాక్ట్ విత్ దిస్ ఆక్సిహిమోగ్లోబిన్, దెన్ ఇట్ కెన్ ఈజీలీ ఫ్రీజ్. ఈజీగా మనకు ఫ్రీగా హెచ్బిని ఇస్తుంది, ఫ్రీగా O2ని ఇచ్చేస్తుంది, అంటే O2ని మొత్తం బయటికి పంపించేస్తుంది. సో బికాస్ ఆఫ్ ద CO2 హియర్, అంటే CO2 లేకపోతే మనకు ఆక్సిజన్ ఇటు పోదా. సో మనకి ఇప్పుడు క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటి అంటే ఆక్సిజన్ అనేది బ్లడ్ నుంచి టిష్యూస్కి వెళ్ళాలి. సో ఈస్ దేర్ ఎనీ వే వితౌట్ ద CO2, వితౌట్ కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్, ఈస్ దేర్ ఎనీ వే టు ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ ద ఆక్సిజన్ ఫ్రమ్ ద బ్లడ్ టు టిష్యూస్? కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్ లేకుండా ఇంకేదైనా దారి ఉందా? కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్ లేకుండా ఆక్సిజన్ అనేది బ్లడ్ నుంచి టిష్యూకి వెళ్తుందా అంటే వెళ్తుంది. ఎలా వెళ్తుంది అంటే 7%. ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఉన్న 3% ఇక్కడ వచ్చింది. సో 3% ఆక్సిజన్ ఉంది. సో 3% ఆక్సిజన్ ఇక్కడ నుంచి టిష్యూస్ కి ఈజీగా వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. సో దెర్ ఈస్ నో ప్రాబ్లం హియర్. సో అందులో పెద్దగా ప్రాబ్లం ఏం లేదు. సో మరి మిగతా ఏంటి అంటే ఇక్కడ O2 నుంచి 90% పోయి HbO2తోనే బైండ్ అయింది. సో HbO2 నుంచి మనం డిసోసియేట్ చేసి CO2 టిష్యూస్ కి ఇవ్వాలి. సో ద డిసోసియేషన్ ఆఫ్ oxyhemoglobin is very important here. So for the dissociation of this particular hemoglobin, it requires the CO2. ఆ డిసోసియేషన్ కావాలంటే హిమోగ్లోబిన్ కావాలి, CO2 కావాలి. కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్ లేకపోతే డిసోసియేషన్ జరగదు. ఎందుకు జరగదు అంటే CO2 లేకపోతే అక్కడ ప్రోటాన్స్ రావు, ప్రోటాన్స్ రాకపోతే అక్కడ ఆక్సిజన్ అనేది ఫ్రీగా విడిపోదు, ఎందుకంటే ఆక్సిజన్ మొత్తం హిమోగ్లోబిన్ తోనే బైండ్ అయింది. సో అక్కడ దాన్ని అన్బైండ్ చేయాలి, దాన్ని విడగొట్టాలి, విడగొడితేనే అప్పుడు ఆక్సిజన్ టిష్యూస్కి వస్తుంది. సో అందుకే CO2 ఫస్ట్ అక్కడికి వెళ్ళిపోయి అక్కడ దాన్ని డిస్టర్బ్ చేయడం వల్ల you will get the free hemoglobin and the free oxygen will move towards to this particular tissues here. So that is a CO2 here. The effect of CO2 is very, very important here. So because of the CO2, oxygen will comes from the RBC to tissues. So that is a process is called the Bohr effect. So the effect which is called Bohr effect here. And here once again see here. So here also the CO2 will comes from here. So here the 20% will bind with the free hemoglobin, that is called the carbamino hemoglobin. And CO2, see here the concentration of CO2 which is now it is higher here. So here very high here. So because you know that here the concentration is very high because the CO2 is completely coming into the bloodstream here. See here 7% will come into the blood plasma, 20% will link with the hemoglobin, and 63% will affect the oxyhemoglobin. That means there is huge amount of CO2. The accumulation of CO2 takes place here. So CO2 బాగా ఎక్కువ అయిపోతుంది, CO2 మొత్తం బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోవాలి, అందుకే CO2 మళ్ళీ ఇక్కడ నుంచి మొత్తం బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. The CO2 can be easily goes out from the lungs here. సో లంగ్స్ నుంచి మళ్ళీ CO2 బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. సో మనం రెస్పిరేషన్ చేసేటప్పుడు O2ని తీసుకుంటాం, CO2ని బయటికి వదిలేస్తాం. సో O2ని తీసుకొని CO2ని బయటికి వదిలేస్తాం. సో O2ని మనం ఇన్హేల్ చేస్తున్నాం, CO2ని ఎక్సేల్ చేస్తున్నాం, బయటికి వదిలేస్తున్నాం. సో బయటికి ఎలా వదిలేస్తున్నాం అంటే ఇక్కడ CO2 బాగా ఎక్కువైపోతుంది, అక్కడ తక్కువ అవుతుంది. సో ద కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్ ఆఫ్ CO2 విచ్ ఇస్ హైయర్ ఇన్ ద బ్లడ్ అండ్ విచ్ ఇస్ లోయర్ ఇన్ ద లంగ్స్ హియర్. సో అందుకే లంగ్స్కి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది, అక్కడ లంగ్స్ నుంచి మళ్ళీ మనకు బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. సో అది కూడా వెళ్ళడానికి there are reasons here. See here, I will tell you exact the reason of CO2 transport from the blood to lungs here. So CO2 blood నుంచి లంగ్స్కి ఎలా వెళ్ళిపోతుంది అంటే even though the effect of the oxygen here. సో ఇక్కడ నుంచి మనకు ఆక్సిజన్ వస్తుంది, ఇక్కడ ఆక్సిజన్ వస్తుంది. సో ఈ ఆక్సిజన్ కూడా కంప్లీట్ గా ఈ HbCO2ని కూడా డిస్టర్బ్ చేస్తుంది. సో HbO2ని కూడా కంప్లీట్ గా డిస్టర్బ్ చేస్తుంది. ఇక్కడ మనకు CO2 వచ్చి ఈ HbO2ని డిస్టర్బ్ చేయడం వల్ల ఈ O2 ఇక్కడ డిసోసియేట్ అయిపోయి టిష్యూస్కి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. అలాగే ఇక్కడ కూడా సేమ్ O2 వచ్చి ఈ HbCO2ని డిస్టర్బ్ చేయడం వల్ల ఇక్కడ నుంచి CO2 బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోయి మళ్ళీ O2ఏ Hbతో బైండ్ అయ్యి మళ్ళీ హిమోగ్లోబిన్ ప్రాసెస్ మళ్ళీ ఆక్సీ హిమోగ్లోబిన్ కంటిన్యూషన్ అవుతుంది. సో HB నుంచి ఈజీగా మళ్ళీ ఫ్రీ HB అవుతుంది, CO2 మొత్తం బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. సో CO2 మళ్ళీ బయటికి మనం ఎక్సేల్ చేస్తాం. సో ఆ ప్రాసెస్ ఏమంటాము అంటే మళ్ళీ హాల్డేన్ ఎఫెక్ట్ అంటాం. సో హాల్డేన్ ఎఫెక్ట్ అంటాం. సో ఐ విల్ టెల్ యూ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ వన్స్ అగైన్ హియర్. So this is the lungs part here, and this is the blood, and this is the tissues here. So once again I'm telling you O2 which is higher in the lungs, this is the lungs here, and this is the blood stream here, this is the blood, and this is the tissues. And O2 which is very high and CO2 which is low here, and the tissues which is CO2 which is very high, O2 is very low here. So oxygen must be transported to the tissues, and the CO2 must be transported. The CO2 must be transported to the lungs here. So O2 will be transported to the tissues, and the CO2 will transported to the lungs here. So see, you have to understood one thing here. So with the help of HB, so with the help of hemoglobin, see what happens here. So what is exactly the Bohr effect and the Haldane effect? So with the help in the blood generally, so what happens here, there is a free hemoglobin is there. So hemoglobin can also bind with the oxygen, and it can also bind with the CO2. So if it is bind with the oxygen, then it is called the oxyhemoglobin. And if it is bind with the CO2, then it is called carbaminohemoglobin. See here what happened. So in the blood, so I will write exactly here, that is HbO2, that is oxyhemoglobin. If I am writing, if it is binding with the CO2, and if it is binding with the CO2, then I will write here HbCO2 here. See what happens here. So oxygen, it must be transported from the lungs to tissues. అంటే లంగ్స్ నుంచి టిష్యూస్ కి తీసుకెళ్ళిపోవాలి. సో విత్ ద హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ CO2. అంటే ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుంది అనేది క్లియర్ గా చూడండి నాన్న. సో ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుందంటే ఫస్ట్ లంగ్స్ నుంచి బ్లడ్ కి టిష్యూస్ కి మన లంగ్స్ నుంచి ఆక్సిజన్ ఫస్ట్ కు బ్లడ్ స్ట్రీమ్ కి వస్తుంది, ఆర్బీసీకి వస్తుంది. ఆర్బీసీలో ఉన్న హిమోగ్లోబిన్ తో రియాక్ట్ అవుతుంది. సో ఇట్ ఫార్మ్స్ యాజ్ ఆక్సీ హిమోగ్లోబిన్. సో ఆక్సీ హిమోగ్లోబిన్ వస్తుంది ఇక్కడ నుంచి O2 రియాక్ట్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత. సో దిస్ ఆక్సిజన్ విల్ మూవ్ టువర్డ్స్ టు దిస్ టిష్యూస్. బికాస్ అది ఎందుకు వస్తుంది అంటే ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఫస్ట్ CO2 రావడం వల్ల, ఈ CO2 వచ్చి దీన్ని డిస్టర్బ్ చేయడం వల్ల ఆక్సిజన్ ఈజీగా అటు ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ అయిపోతుంది. సో ఈ ప్రాసెస్ ఏమంటాము అంటే బోర్ ఎఫెక్ట్ అంటాము. సో బోర్ ఎఫెక్ట్ అంటాం. సో ద ఎఫెక్ట్ విచ్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ద బోర్ ఎఫెక్ట్. అండ్ సీ హియర్ వన్స్ అగైన్ సీ హియర్. సో CO2 మొత్తం ఇక్కడ ఎక్కువ అయిపోతుంది ఇక్కడ రావడం వల్ల. మళ్ళీ CO2 మొత్తం మళ్ళీ లంగ్స్ నుంచి మళ్ళీ బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోవాలి. సో బయటికి ఎలా వెళ్ళిపోతుంది అంటే ఇక్కడ మొత్తం ఫస్ట్ ఆక్సిజన్ వచ్చి ఇక్కడ మళ్ళీ దీన్ని డిస్టర్బ్ చేస్తుంది. సో ఆక్సిజన్ మొత్తం వస్తుంది కదా, ఆక్సిజన్ కూడా ఈ HbCO2ని డిస్టర్బ్ చేయడం వల్ల ఈ CO2ని బ్రేక్ డౌన్ అయిపోయి డిసోసియేషన్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ హిమోగ్లోబిన్, కార్బమినో హిమోగ్లోబిన్ CO2 మళ్ళీ లంగ్స్ నుంచి బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. సో ఈ ప్రాసెస్ ఏమంటాము అంటే హాల్డేన్ అంటాం. సో దిస్ ప్రాసెస్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ హాల్డేన్ హియర్. సో బోర్ ఎఫెక్ట్ హాల్డేన్ కి చిన్న తేడా ఉంది ఇక్కడ. సో ఈ బోర్ ఎఫెక్ట్ అంటే దిస్ ఈస్ ద ఎఫెక్ట్ ఆఫ్ CO2 హియర్. దిస్ ఈస్ ద ఎఫెక్ట్ ఆఫ్ CO2 హియర్. Effect of CO2 here. So completely this is the effect. Bohr effect is the effect of CO2 here. Effect of CO2 here. So Bohr effect అనేది transportation of oxygen here. Transportation of oxygen from the blood to tissues. So from the blood to tissues with the help of CO2. CO2 ని హెల్ప్ చేసుకొని మనకు ఆక్సిజన్ మన బ్లడ్ నుంచి టిష్యూస్కి వెళ్తే అది బోర్ ఎఫెక్ట్. సో హాల్డేన్ ఎఫెక్ట్ అంటే which is the transportation of CO2 from the blood to lungs with the help of oxygen, which is called the Haldane effect. So once again I will write you exactly the lungs, and this is the blood, and this is tissues. And see here the oxygen will move towards to like this. I will use another color so you can use another color. And let us take it is a CO2 which is transfer tissues here. This is the tissues and CO2, and the white color which is O2 here. This is O2 here. So see exactly what happens here. So from the lungs the O2 must be transported to the blood and it is transported to the tissue. So blood నుంచి tissues కి వెళ్ళడాన్నే దాన్ని ఏమంటామంటే బోర్ ఎఫెక్ట్ అంటాం. సో ద ట్రాన్స్పోర్టేషన్ ఆఫ్ O2 ఫ్రమ్ ద బ్లడ్ టు టిష్యూస్ దాన్ని బోర్ ఎఫెక్ట్ అంటారు. బోర్ ఎఫెక్ట్ అంటారు. సో ఇది ఎలా జరుగుతుంది అంటే విత్ ద హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ CO2. విత్ ద హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ CO2 లేకపోతే ఇది జరగదు అన్నమాట. With the help of CO2 the oxygen is transported from the blood to tissue, that is called the Bohr effect. And again in case of this from the blood to lungs. So the transport of CO2 from blood to lungs with the help of oxygen is called the Haldane effect. This is called Haldane effect. So this is very important thing. This is called the Haldane effect. This is called Bohr effect. That is a very important thing here. So Bohr effect and Haldane effect. So this is the function of the hemoglobin. Very important thing here. So you have to understand this thing here. So hemoglobin. So from the blood generally lungs by the breathing, generally by the respiration, O2 will inhale while we are breathing. So O2 which comes from the environment, and by the inhaling the O2 it is transported from the lungs to blood and the blood to tissues. So the transportation of O2 from the lungs to tissues, it is with the help of hemoglobin. And again the transportation of CO2 from the tissues to lungs with the help of hemoglobin. That is a very important thing here. So this is the function of the hemoglobin. So exactly the function of the hemoglobin. So till now I exactly am telling you the function of the hemoglobin. So we have to discuss the exactly the structure of oxyhemoglobin and the oxyhemoglobin and the deoxyhemoglobin. So because particularly it is completely biological part here. So we have to discuss the chemistry of the hemoglobin here. So what is the structure of oxyhemoglobin and what is the oxidation present in the iron, and particularly what is the structural change, what is the binding capacity, binding affinity of oxygen. We will discuss all in the next lecture, but till now this is the exactly the function of the hemoglobin. So this is particularly the function of the hemoglobin. I will, 1 minute, I will show you the exactly the, so see here. So hemoglobin, it is a pigment consisting of a heme group and it is a globin part here. So, and it gives a characteristic red in color. So see here, so hemoglobin is a pigment consisting of a heme group and it is a globin protein part gives a characteristic red color in the blood. So hemoglobin. So hemoglobin, it is a protein part and this is the heme protein. Heme, that is a heme group. And it combines reversibly with oxygen. That means it can combine and it can even dissociate with the oxyhemoglobin. That is, it can form as a HbO2. Again, it dissociate into Hb here. So it is reversibly, it can bind with the oxygen. And it is important for the transportation of oxygen to the muscle tissues. So hemoglobin, which is a tetramer having 4 heme groups, and it can bind with the 4 oxygen molecules. So it can bind with the 4 oxygen molecule here. And before binding of O2, which is called deoxyhemoglobin, after the binding, which is called oxyhemoglobin. So I'm telling you the conclusion of this particular hemoglobin. So till now we have discussed the function of the hemoglobin. So exactly the points you have to remember here. So see here, 97% of the oxygen from the lungs is bind with the hemoglobin. So for the transportation of O2 to the tissues, O2 to the tissues, and the CO2 is released into the RBC by the diffusion, which favors the dissociation of oxyhemoglobin, which is also called the Bohr effect. So hemoglobin can act as a buffer in the neutralizing the pH of the blood. So this is a function of the hemoglobin. So the function is completely, it is comes under the biological part. We will discuss the chemistry of the hemoglobin. So what is exact the structure of this particular hemoglobin? So that we will discuss in the next lecture. Okay.